The Young and the Restless spoilers update for Monday, April 21, reveals that Victoria Newman will object to Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman's move-in, but Nikki Newman will think Claire should defy Victor Newman. At Society on Monday's I and R episode, Claire will confess that she's been discussing the possibility of living with Kyle. That news will leave Victoria on edge, since she'll think it's happening too fast, not to mention Victor's going to flip out even more. However, Claire will hold out hope that Victor might come around and see that Kyle is a good man. Nikki won't agree with Victoria about holding off on this move if it feels right to Claire and Kyle. In fact, Nikki will suggest defying Victor might be the best way to handle him. Claire's grandma won't want her pushing Kyle away by letting Victor dictate their lives. After Claire confesses that she's falling in love with Kyle, she'll make a prediction about Kyle not hurting her. In the end, Claire will reach a decision and will hint about Kyle being part of it when he appears at their table. At the athletic club, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will catch Phyllis Summers and Billy Abbott off guard by backing out of his commitment to Abbott Communications. Daniel's heart just won't be in it since he won't have a clue what creative route he wants to pursue. It'll be clear that Daniel's still dealing with his grief, but he'll privately push Phyllis to stick with Abbott Communications while he figures out his own path forward. Once Daniel makes his way to the coffee house, Tessa Porter will notice his glum mood. Daniel will confide about his life hitting the skids, though he won't be sure how to fix that. Back at the GVAC, Billy will tell Sally Spectra about Daniel quitting, and will suspect Phyllis could do the same since she really wanted to work with her son. Although Billy won't have a backup plan, he'll come up with one on the spot when he asks Sally to be his partner instead. Sally will appreciate the offer, but she'll want to stick with her fashion career since that's her real passion. Despite Sally's belief that Billy could find a better partner than Phyllis, she'll acknowledge that Phyllis is loyal. Sally will spill how Phyllis came to her for assistance, since they both don't trust Aristotle Dumis. Billy won't think Phyllis seems that loyal, after all, since she went behind his back to essentially sabotage his alliance with Aristotle. When Phyllis returns from comforting Daniel, she'll remain worried about him and will push Billy for help. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Daniel will have to figure out what his future's going to look like, so he'll make some updates to his perspective along the way. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of April 21, 2025 are in. Fans can expect Cole Howard to return. Holden Novak keeps Audra Charles on her toes. Plus, Tessa Porter helps out Daniel Romalotti Jr. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Next week, fans can expect Cole to return. Fans have seen Claire Grace Newman opening up to Victoria Newman and Nikki Newman. However, Cole has been busy with his career. Finally, Cole will get an update from Claire. Even though Claire already talks to Nikki and Victoria about moving in with Kyle Abbott in Monday's episode, later in the week, she speaks with both of her parents. Maybe Cole will encourage Victoria to let Claire follow her heart. Victoria might think it's too soon, but this has to be Claire's decision. She's not a kid, but a grown woman. Over with Audra, she has gotten orders from Victor Newman to target Kyle. Nate Hastings doesn't like the idea one bit. Sally Spectra also warned Audra. However, she has been out of work for several months, and Victor really dangled a tasty treat in front of her. Audra's instincts are trying to warn her, but the potential reward is just too tempting. So we are seeing Audra make some big mistakes. Meanwhile, Audra will also have to deal with Holden keeping her on her toes. Later, Audra also has to deal with a grilling session from Lily Winters. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Tessa will go on a rescue mission. This mission will be to help Daniel. I previously stated that Daniel doesn't have a job. Oops, I was wrong. I guess I never see him working, so I forgot. Sorry, y'all. Moving forward, Daniel is at a crossroads. Tessa asks him what he's always wanted to do that he just hasn't had time for until now. Daniel instantly thinks of something but can't do it alone. He asks for Tessa's help with this project. Sally Spectra will get an interesting proposal from Billy Abbott. That same day, Phyllis Summers pushes Sally's buttons. Then, Billy crosses the line to make a point. Nate gets an update about Amy Lewis' cancer treatment. Nate shares this with Damian Kane and Amy. Judging by the preview clip, it looks like good news. Also, Chelsea Lawson questions Adam Newman's motives. Plus, Diane Jenkins Abbott shows off the renovations to Kyle and Jack Abbott. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what is coming up next. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Victoria Newman may say 8 horrified words after Victor Newman's Audra Charles plot is exposed. It's clear that Victor is crossing a major line that multiple Newman family members aren't going to approve of. Claire Newman is falling in love with Kyle Abbott, so it looks like she'll go along with his move-in request during the week of April 21 to 25. Kyle and Claire will make more plans for their future as a couple, and that includes living together. Despite Victoria's concerns about the speed of Claire's romance, and the moves Victor might make to shut it down, she'll try to be supportive in the end. Victoria may have another conversation with Victor as well, and beg him to just please back off. However, Victor doesn't think Kyle is good enough for Claire, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Claire's decision to live with Kyle is only going to make things worse, so Victor will rely on Audra to turn this relationship into a total catastrophe. Victoria looked suspicious when Audra showed up at the Newman Ranch for a meeting with Victor. As this storyline moves along, Victoria may become increasingly concerned about what kind of deal Audra and Victor struck. It won't be difficult for Victoria to figure out what happened if Audra works her magic and puts Kyle in a scandalous situation. You can bet Victoria will point the finger at Victor for rehiring Audra just to ruin Kyle and Claire's happiness. Victoria will no doubt blow her top, especially since Victor vowed to Claire that he wouldn't actively sabotage her relationship. Victor broke his promise in a big way, so Victoria will complain about that and the pain he's trying to cause for Claire. Although Victor will feel like his extreme actions were warranted to protect Claire, Victoria surely won't agree with how far he went with his twisted plan. At some point, Victoria may rip into Victor and say those 8 horrified words we talked about. How dare you do this to my daughter? This is the kind of thing that could cause some huge family rifts on my and ours, since Victoria will be furious with her father, and Nikki Newman will be just as outraged over Victor's scheme. Claire will be angry with Victor as well, so there'll be plenty of family drama left to play out. Victoria may make some predictions about Victor paying a steep price if Claire can never forgive him. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor will continue to believe he knows best, so stay tuned for updates on the terrible news that's coming up for Claire as a result. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Victor Newman's experience with Aristotle Dumis years ago is significant. He believes this unseen character, who Victor never saw, is aiming for Newman Enterprises. Viewers are watching the seemingly slow drip introduction of a character. However, Aristotle has already been seen and might be in Genoa City, Wisconsin. Speculating about which past or current character would be like trying to determine why Michael Baldwin believes Victor is a replacement father figure when he's not. Suffice it to say, using a cliché, Aristotle could be anyone, including a genuinely new character that an actor will portray. Victor isn't right about specific points, but is correct when assessing Billy Abbott's connection to Aristotle. That corporatist wouldn't reach out to Jack Abbott's little brother for any reason other than to use him. It feels like Aristotle, or whoever contacted Billy under that guise, wants to leverage the angst against Victor. What Michael has learned about Aristotle's interest in Chancellor and Winters Incorporated implies that his main goal is broad. Billy might become the Chancellor's restored head if Aristotle felt the company could be obtained and passed off to him. Alternatively, Billy could work at a division within Aristotle's corporate behemoth. It was good to see Melissa Ordway return to the cast. This longtime stalwart was dropped to recurring status in recent months, which led to her character supposedly exploring Europe. Seeing Abby visit her father at the new ranch house wasn't unusual. Many Newmans pay homage to the man who has provided them with a lush lifestyle, which offers earned respect. Sharing intel about Aristotle with Abby was purposeful. He wants her to remain on guard, but also knows she has the most direct link to Winters Incorporated through her husband, Devin Winters. Devin doesn't like Victor's methods but values his business acumen. He does appreciate what will likely prove to be another suitable warning about the man Damien Kane works for. Projecting a climax where Aristotle takes control of Newman Enterprises would be a significant guess. Braden remains the lead character on this soap opera, and Victor is the king of this Midwestern city. Yet that type of storyline would be powerful. Plus, Victor could always wrestle control back. The story of the Ashland Lock involved a hybrid partnership between that character and Victor. This angle would be different, with Aristotle plotting to take power from Victor by targeting Newman Enterprises. This site is a leading source for everything linked to the young and the restless. Check back regularly for Y and R spoilers and news. Holden and Claire's chemistry is strong, just like their drinks. We anxiously anticipate what else will unfold with Claire and Holden on the young and the restless. So far, we love seeing this slow burn relationship play out. Will they become just friends, or will they end up in a passionate love affair? Anything can happen on this soap. We waited for the day when Claire and Holden would cross paths again. We last saw them at the bar when Holden introduced Claire to strong drinks, courtesy of James Bond. Claire had never seen a Bond movie in her life, nor was she much of a drinker. But Holden brought out some of her that we'd love to see more of. We would love for Claire to embrace her inner baddie on Y and R. Once again, the two returned to their old stomping grounds this week. Claire waited for her boyfriend, Kyle, while Holden sat there alone as he thought about Audra. At first, Claire seemed hesitant to mention that she has a boyfriend. She seems attached to Holden's sexy and mysterious vibe. She also can't help herself when she's around him. She offers up the opportunity to flirt at any given moment. We love that Claire is feeling herself around other eligible men. It's fun to watch this flirtationship play out on the soap. Holden and Claire are two new characters who don't have any connections to one another. They also don't harbor too much baggage, not that we know of. So, it's just fun to watch two new people connect with one another. We're interested in seeing where this relationship will take them. Currently, Holden is still pining for Audra, while Claire is happy with Kyle. However, that could change when Audra gets in the middle of their relationship. Holden and Claire's flirtationship could easily change into something more. Their heartbreak could lead them back to the bar, which could ignite a passionate love affair. Our video preview for this week shows Diane revealing newly decorated Abbott Mansion. The Young and the Restless spoilers for April 21 to 25 hint at many surprises. This week's video preview has Diane surprising her family, while another character asks for a favor from someone. Here's a look at what's ahead. This week's video starts with Nate at his penthouse with Damien and Amy. The brothers take a break from business drama to enjoy some family time. However, the gathering is interrupted when Nate receives a phone call. When Nate rejoins the duo, he tells them the call was from Amy's doctor about her treatment. An anxious Amy and Damien look on as Nate delivers his news. But will it be good or bad news that he has to share? Elsewhere, Daniel meets with Tessa. She's become a good friend to Daniel after his recent ordeals. Heather's death and Phyllis's kidnapping caused him a lot of grief, but Tessa's support is helping him through it. She's encouraging him to start enjoying life again and asks if there's anything he wants to do. Daniel says there is one thing, but he needs Tessa's help with it. What does Daniel have planned for him and Tessa? And more importantly, will this lead to their friendship turning romantic? Later, it's the moment everyone has been waiting for, the unveiling of the new Abbott mansion. With Jack's permission, Diane began decorating his family home. After weeks of working on her project, Diane is finished and ready to show off her creation. She brings Jack and Kyle home to see the new design, and they're definitely surprised. Will Diane's renovation of the Abbott home be a hit or miss with the family? Will Jack like Diane's handiwork? The week of April 21 to 25 looks intriguing on the young and the restless. From a beloved character's appearance to a big reveal, next week has lots of moments to watch on Y&R. Here are 3 we're most looking forward to. Finally, at long last, we will get to see how Diane redecorated the Abbott mansion. It's been months in the making, and Jack felt quite a bit of trepidation about the situation. They all moved into the Genoa City Athletic Club for a while, but Diane sets the stage for a big reveal. Will Jack like it? If he doesn't, it won't be for lack of trying. Diane pulls out all the stops to impress Jack. It will certainly be interesting to not only see his reaction, but also for viewers to see what Y&R did to change up the beloved set. We can't help but be thrilled that Tessa will be on this week. While we'd love to see her with Mariah, it's not clear if she'll appear in scenes with her wife. Tessa comes to the rescue of someone in need of help, and we notice that it comes shortly after Daniel finds himself at a crossroads. We're kind of digging their friendship. We know there's an issue due to Daniel's role in Cassie's death and Tessa's status as Sharon's daughter-in-law, but it's refreshing to see them be friends. Of course, we do wish we saw more of Mariah and Tessa's life together on screen. When the young and the restless introduced Audra Charles in 2022, we were captivated. She was strong, sneaky, and full of potential. But since then, the character has been majorly watered down and turned into just another female power player, whose power is mostly given to her by the men in her orbit. That was a disappointing enough continuation of a trend. See also Nikki Newman and Sally Spectra. But then the show went and made it worse. Even though Genoa City seems to have more corporations than park benches and more CEO jobs than grocery store cashier gigs, the powers that be told us that Audra couldn't find a company of her own to run in a town that's lousy with them. Then they had Audra agree to use her allure to turn ex-lover Kyle's head in exchange for the chance to run some corporation or other, whatever Victor finds for her as a thank you for breaking up his granddaughter's relationship. We don't have 3 words for this twist, we have 3 letters, WTH. Audra is supposed to be smart, yet she's trusting Victor, and that is categorically stupid. She is supposed to be capable. Yet in Genoa City, where everyone from ex-strippers to card-carrying screw-ups have corner offices, Audra is the only person left out of the game of musical Big Boss chairs. Why? This storyline does a disservice to the audience by telling us that Audra isn't as amazing as we were led to believe. It is a slap in the face to womankind, suggesting that Audra's most marketable quality is her sex appeal. And if she goes through with Victor's plan, it's sure to be the end of her otherwise healthy relationship with Nate. Maybe it does track with the character's history. Zuleika Silver did once tell Soaps that somewhere along the line, Audra made the decision to put success in business above her personal life. She said, "I don't want to get married. I don't want to lose myself in or to another person." I, as Zuleika, don't know if she means it, but Audra believes she believes it. Still, this plot doesn't have us enthralled, it has us sad. Sad to see Audra's potential squandered. Sad to see an actor as charismatic as Silver stuck playing this hot mess. Sad to see that Young and Restless has chosen to have Victor learn zilch about the way that he has used women as weapons in the past. Remember how well that worked out when he sicked Patty on Jack, or when he sicked Kelly on Jack? We do. It was gross enough when Bold and Beautiful had Steffi whore out pal Daphne in hopes of breaking up Carter and Hope, and thereby regaining control of her family's company. But at least Daphne didn't seem grossed out by what she was doing. She saw it as a game. Audra, on the other hand, doesn't want to do this. She is being forced to in order to achieve her career goals. That is, put simply, yucky. Do better, Young and Restless. The Young and the Restless spoilers for next week's episodes of the hit CBS soap tease that things are at a slow burn as May sweeps near. It's been more of the same in Genoa City for the past few weeks. The only sort of interesting twist was that Alan really was Martin, and he was also behind Phyllis and Sharon's kidnapping. Other than that, Y&R viewers have been dealt many of the same conversations with little movement or revelations. Hopefully, things will change during Sweeps Month, which is on the horizon. Next week, though, fans won't get any jaw-dropping moments on the Young and the Restless. The relationship between Claire and Kyle has become a hot topic in Genoa City. Victor has made his feelings known about the couple, even enlisting Audra to split them up. Little does Victor know that Nikki has a plan to help her granddaughter. Nikki pushes Claire to take the next step with Kyle. It seems Nikki isn't the only one hiding a secret. The mustache also keeps his wife in the dark about something. At this point, it could be about Claire and Kyle, his revenge on the Abbotts, or the mysterious Aristotle Dumis. While Claire leans on Victoria and Cole amid her relationship drama, Kyle has a very tough life decision to make. Diane has been working overtime for weeks to redecorate the Abbott family mansion. Diane's desperate to impress Jack with the redesign. I&R fans will see the new Abbott mansion next week, as Diane surprises Jack and Kyle by unveiling it to them. Audra gets an earful from Lily, which has everything to do with Holden. The latter enjoys keeping Audra on her toes, which doesn't sit well with Lily since Audra's dating Nate. Holden's next move leaves Audra facing yet another problem in her relationship. Speaking of Nate, he shares an update on Amy's condition with her and Damien. Elsewhere in Genoa City, Billy has a proposition for Sally. However, in true Billy fashion, he crosses a line, making Sally question his offer and their relationship. The Billy situation pushes Phyllis into a heated exchange with Sally. It seems a love triangle is brewing, but we have been saying that for a while. The Young and the Restless recap for Monday, April 21, reveals that Billy Abbott's offer will stun Sally Spectra, while Phyllis Summers deals with some heartbreaking news. At the GCAC, Phyllis will be ready to hit the ground running at Abbott Communications, but Daniel Romalotti Jr. won't seem as excited. Billy will join the discussion and learn that Daniel doesn't know what he wants to do creatively. Daniel will suggest that Billy can just stick him wherever at the company, but he'll ultimately decide this whole situation just isn't right for him. Once Phyllis follows Daniel to the park, he'll open up about how lost he feels now that Heather Stevens is gone along with all their plans for a future together. It'll break Phyllis' heart as she tries to find a way to support her son. Daniel was hoping time would heal his wounds, but he'll still be struggling on Monday's I&R episode. Phyllis won't want to do Abbott Communications without Daniel, but he'll think that's where her passion is. Daniel will insist on finding his own new chapter, but he won't be sure what that's going to look like. Later, Daniel will run into Tessa Porter at Crimson Lights, where he'll help with her crossword puzzle. Tessa will sense that Daniel is troubled and want to help him next. That'll lead to Daniel admitting he feels like his life has hit the brakes, so he'll also confess he doesn't know how to get back on track. Back at the athletic club, Billy will give Sally updates on all the latest Daniel drama. It'll leave Billy worried that he's going to lose Phyllis, too, since she was a package deal with Daniel. Sally will wonder about Billy's plan B, but he'll admit he doesn't have one. When Sally asks who else Billy might trust as a business partner, he'll eventually suggest Sally herself. Sally will be flattered over the offer, but she'll insist her heart is in fashion and will turn Billy down. Although Sally will think there are better options than Phyllis for Billy to work with, she'll acknowledge that Phyllis is loyal. Billy will wonder what Sally means, so she'll admit Phyllis sought her help talking Billy out of his involvement with Aristotle Dumis. Sally will defend Phyllis' protective side, since she'll agree Aristotle can't be trusted. Once Phyllis pops back up, she'll hint that Daniel is an oak and will seek Billy's assistance. At society, Claire Newman will have breakfast with Victoria Newman and Nicky Newman, so they'll find out Kyle Abbott asked her to move in together. Victoria will think it's too soon and will warn that it would throw gasoline on the Victor Newman fire. Nicky will argue that Claire and Kyle have to make choices for themselves, regardless of what Victor thinks. After Claire points out that she's falling in love with Kyle, she'll eventually decide she knows what she needs to do. Kyle will appear and wonder what's up, so Claire will clarify that this decision involves him too. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Claire and Kyle could be on the verge of cohabitating, so they should make more living arrangement predictions soon. CDL's the place to be for terrific Young and the Restless spoilers, updates and news, so make us your one-stop Y and R source. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Martin Laurent was arrested. However, villains always seem to escape, no matter how high security the prison is in soaps. Martin could escape or even have someone take his place, much like Ian Ward arranged for Jordan. It's possible that Martin could go to New York to finish what he started with Tracy Abbott and Ashley Abbott. Keep reading and let's talk about the possibilities. Fans recall that Tracy was really struggling when she realized that Alain Laurent might actually be his dead twin brother, Martin. Tracy confided her fears to Jack Abbott, who got Chance Chancellor involved. Then, Ashley returned and got caught up with Jack. When Jack mentioned that Alan might actually be Martin, she was horrified. After that, Jack and Ashley went rushing to Tracy's suite, where Martin was unraveling. It was after that encounter when Ashley told Tracy that there was no doubt that man was not Alain Laurent. After that, Chance tried to question Alan, but got a nasty response. Then, Jack, Ashley, and Tracy all cornered Martin to demand the truth. Martin still wouldn't confess, and was even brought in for questioning. Martin only confessed after a double confrontation with his kidnapping victims, Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers. Of course, Chance arrested Martin. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that after Martin's arrest, Tracy did some thinking. Tracy stunned Jack and Diane Jenkins Abbott by saying she was going to New York. Tracy felt that there was a book waiting to come out of all this. Jack and Diane were pretty concerned, but felt better when they learned Ashley would be going to NI with Tracy. In soaps, villains always seem to escape prison. Martin is an experienced sociopath who has been planning this experiment for a long time. Sharon and Phyllis were just an experiment though. So what is the real treatment for? And what is the ultimate goal? Maybe Martin escapes just to follow Tracy and Ashley to New York. Is it possible that Martin could silently conduct his treatment on Tracy, Ashley, or perhaps both of them? Martin's arrest seemed rather lackluster for such a bombshell storyline. So I have to wonder if there's a little bit more to this story up ahead. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, April 22, reveal that Kyle Abbott will risk Victor Newman's wrath as Claire Newman prepares to take a big step. Phyllis Summers will also cause some trouble, so here's what Y and R fans can expect. For starters, Phyllis will get under Sally Spectra's skin. There'll be some tension over Billy Abbott, especially now that he fears Phyllis might bail on Abbott Communications because Daniel Romalotti Jr. bailed first. Phyllis will stir the pot with Sally, who might push Phyllis' buttons right back. You can bet Phyllis won't like it much if Sally mentions Billy's job offer. Since Billy considered replacing Phyllis with Sally as a backup plan, Sally might gloat about that. However, Phyllis might point out that she's Billy's first choice and that she's not going anywhere. Even if Phyllis can't convince Daniel to get back on board at Abbott Communications, she may assure Billy that she's still all in on making this company the best it can be. Daniel feels like that's where Phyllis belongs, so she may ultimately agree with him. Of course, that still leaves Daniel with a problem of his own. Daniel is feeling directionless in the aftermath of Heather Stevens' demise and all the other family chaos he's dealt with in recent months. Now Daniel finally has a chance to breathe, but he feels blocked creatively. Tessa Porter will do her best to spark some new ideas for Daniel, who'll eventually settle on a plan that he needs her help to pull off. While Tessa lifts Daniel's spirits, Claire will give Kyle updates on what she's decided. That is if he's still on the same page. It looks like Claire will be ready to move forward with Kyle's suggestion about living together. Since Victoria Newman will remain in protective mom mode, she might warn Kyle about provoking Victor's fury. If Kyle and Claire go through with living under the same roof, Victor could certainly retaliate. Kyle already made it clear to Claire that it was worth the risk to him. Even so, Claire may want to make sure Kyle still feels that way now that moving in together is about to become a reality. Despite Victor's inevitable revenge, Kyle may stand his ground and make some predictions about this big step, with Claire being the right call. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Claire and Kyle have much more drama ahead of them. So stay tuned for any stunning Victor news to come. We'll have other fantastic Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates to check out, so stop by often for the latest Y and R info.